Hey guys, it's Dan from DisneyInfinityCodes.com, and I am here to talk to you about Power Discs 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and beyond. Power Discs are going to be a part of Disney Infinity, and it's important for you guys to know what they do and what they are, because they can really add a ton of fun to the game and make some really exciting additions to gameplay, such as in the toy box. And a lot of people getting into Infinity don't know what they are, and so here we are. We're going to talk to you a little bit about Power Discs. First off and foremost, there are three kinds of Power Discs. There are toys, customization, and abilities, and those Power Discs are represented in different sizes, colors, or icons. And so to start, there is what's called an ability Power Disc. These are round Power Discs. They have a red color to them, and they have this white star on the bottom. And what's really cool about them is that they click right onto and underneath the base of your Infinity characters. And you can put up to 2 of these round Power Discs underneath your Infinity character to give them certain bonuses and advantages to certain things like armor, health, damage, experience, spark, collection radius, a whole bunch of different things. They've evolved a little bit from Generation of Infinity to Generation of Infinity. The first generation of Infinity had these Power Discs primarily as enhancements to certain stats of a character. So this Power Disc and other 1.0 Power Discs would do things like give you extra armor, give you extra radius for pickup of sparks. It would give you extra damage, extra health, certain perks like that it would enhance and change. And there are tons and tons and tons of 1.0 Power Discs that you can find and choose from. And what's really cool about these is that when you then stack 2 Power Discs, certain ones from the 1.0 version, which continue to work all the way through to 3.0 now as it stands, they give you even super duper extra bonuses. I guess it's really not the best way to describe it, but they will sometimes combine the effects of the Power Discs in order to give you extra bonuses on top of what the bonuses were from each individual disc. So they're just combo bonuses. And so a good example of one. Let's see if I can find a good example of a combo. So for instance, the Chrome Power Disc right here, as well as the User Control Power Disc right here, when put together, create a bonus effect called the Chrome Grapple Hook, and that increases the range for picking up objects by 2%. So you not only get the advantages and bonuses of each of these discs, but on top of which, then you get an extra bonus of Y. And there are a huge amount of combinations that you can unlock with all these 1.0 Power Discs, which is super cool. In 2.0, they kind of did some extra special fun things with them. And so if you have, the 2 things they did with them in 2.0 is add what are called costume change discs. And so these are character specific, and they will give alternative costumes to existing characters, both from 1.0 and 2.0, depending on if you have the character that goes with the disc. And so if you were to take Iron Fist here, put this underneath and put them on the game base, Iron Fist would then change into his white immortal Iron Fist costume, which is really cool. But if you don't have the Iron Fist figure, well, they don't punish you for that, because each of these discs still has bonus kind of features that go along with it, be it extra health or extra armor or all that kind of stuff. So they are still useful whether or not you have the character. And the other cool thing they did in 2.0 was release these Power Discs that are special attacks. So these are special attacks that charge up and are I think they take approximately 7 minutes to fully charge, but then when activated, there's a wide area effect attack that is brought down upon your enemies, and they have lots and lots of different ones, both from Disney Originals and on the Marvel side of things. So this is, here's a here's the Maleficent special attack, and then here's, you know, the Sorcerer Supreme, like from Marvel. So they have both of those on both sides, and they, as well as the costume change discs, they have those on both sides as well. And then one of the other cool things that they added into 2.0 in the abilities disc are the team up discs. And so again, charge up 7 minutes, and then when you activate this, one of many heroes will drop into the fight and fight alongside you for approximately 30 seconds. And they have all special and different unique talents, and they can be pretty darn useful in a fight. And so, you know, these team-up discs are really, really cool. And those have continued on to 3.0. In 3.0, and I don't have any of those discs because at the time of recording this, 3.0 has not released yet, but let me pull up a picture here of some of them. So in 3.0, instead of Marvel superhero team-ups, now they have what are called galactic team-ups. And the first one they, of course, announced is Mace Windu being a character that you can then partner up with in terms of the Star Wars galaxy, which is very, very cool. And he is right there. As well as some costume change discs are also making their way into 3.0 for characters such as Luke, so he can change into his, you know, Rebel Alliance costume and outfit. And one of the other interesting and unique things that they're doing with 3.0 is that previously in 3.0, the special attack discs, like I showed off here with Maleficent and Sorcerer Supreme, these were area effect discs, and they were kind of you know, like they damaged your enemies when used. But in 2.0, in 3.0, one of the cool things is that they are kind of tweaking that a little bit and now making area effect discs for defensive purposes. So, for instance, the Time Bomb from Tomorrowland, 3.0 Time Bomb, when you use this inside the game, it forms a little bubble shield around you and protects you and slows enemies down around you. So it doesn't necessarily damage them, but it protects you. So that's a new feature and upgrade to 3.0, which is pretty cool in terms of these round ability discs. And so next we'll hop over to the customization discs. Oh, and well, before I go, and of course there's one, while we're talking about ability discs, here is the one super rare and special King Mickey disc, which was a D23 exclusive for all those in attendance. And this turns Mickey into King Mickey. This is not available in stores. You can only grab it probably on eBay at this point. And so that was just one little extra special discs. So, and, you know, just to remind, and I have a little the base cover. So those two, you can stack up to 2 round discs on this section underneath the character in order, and both will be reread and can be used. So, all right, cool. So let's talk now about the orange hexagonal discs, and these are what are called toy discs. They are in a couple different categories of these toys. They are hexagonal. They're orange. They have this little ball as an icon on the disc itself. And so there are there are several different kinds of toys in the hexagonal category. So there are vehicles, and these are not limited to just driving vehicles, but also flying vehicles, certain things like helicopters and whatnot, planes, that kind of stuff. There are certain flying vehicles, so there are vehicles. Then there are mounts, which are similar to vehicles, but they are 4-legged riding creatures that you can ride. Then there are blasters or guns for weapons, and these are just you know, essentially guns that you hold and can shoot. They're ranged attacks. And then there are melee attacks with either swords, whips, all that kind of stuff. So there are 4 different kinds of toy discs inside of Disney Infinity for power discs. So they did some fun things and have really added a lot of really fun mounts. And one of the exciting things for 3.0 is that the Toy Box Speedway, which is this little disc right here, as well as the Toy Box expansion game, Toy Box Takeover, will allow you to use any of your power discs as as vehicles inside the Speedway or weapons inside the expansion game. So they're limited to ground vehicles only, of course, which is a bit of a bummer. But you can take these discs here, 2 of them, and then they stack over kind of perfectly over top of the Toy Box Speedway. So you still use and make use of all of your vehicles from 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0 inside the Toy Box Speedway, and all of your weapons from 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 inside of the Toy Box Takeover, which is kind of great. So there continues to be a high replay value for these things, and they're making more use of them every version, every release. And the final exciting thing about these toy discs is that now they're shareable. Previously, inside of toy boxes, if you wanted to build a toy box based entirely around the Headless Horseman, and you centered the challenge or the game around the fact that you had to ride the Headless Horseman's horse. If the player who was playing that toy box didn't have the Headless Horseman's horse disc, they were out of luck. But now, thanks to the vehicle selector, spawner, and the challenge creator tools, you can load these hexagonal discs into the toy box and then save them to be available as vehicles to use for other players who download your toy box if you were to share them. Then finally, there are what are called customization discs. And so these are hexagonal discs as well, and they're purple. They got a little paintbrush icon on them. And all of these customization discs come in sets of 2. And so there are 2 different kinds. Of the customization discs, and you can tell the difference between the 2 because usually there's a nice little background image on them that is it's nice, clear. It gives a nice idea of what the scene, what the setting is. That is what's called the Sky Dome disc. This is going to change the music and the overall background and dome of the entire toy box that you're building in. And then this is what I like to call the texture disc, and what this is going to do is affect the flat terrain pieces and the side of those flat terrain pieces and change them into a unique and special texture, as well as it also affects the fantasy terrain pieces inside the toy box building. So there are a grand total of 9 fantasy terrain pieces. There are fantasy terrain 1 through 5. There are 2 fantasy terrain strips and 2 fantasy terrain corners. And so when you have those fantasy terrain pieces inside of your toy box and you put this disc down and select yes to affect the whole toy box, they will change into special and unique things. And if you visit us at DisneyInfinityCodes.com, we are slowly but surely building a nice little log of all Power Disc customization enhancements for flat terrain, sky domes, all that kind of stuff, because there's no decent resource out there to do that. And so we thought we would share and put that together. So check back eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later, that they'll all be there. And so they continue the same thing on with 2.0. And one of the cool things when they did 2.0, and it's not in all of the texture discs, but certainly in some, is that the fantasy terrain pieces began to morph into things that could be used for platforming, which was really cool. A lot of flat pieces, lots of like bridges and flat spots for you to jump up on and move around on. And so they kind of became useful in building toy boxes more so than before. But so now they are, of course, moving on with that into the 3.0 version of the game, and I have some pictures here in a couple of their different properties. And of course, now they've got things like the Tomorrowland Futurescape, and so you can see that theme carries on with the kind of the 3-part, the flat and side terrain. You can tell the difference between the texture and the sky domes because there's that big sprawling image on the background of the sky dome, and then the textures are usually broken up into 3 different pieces. So you say to me, okay, that's what Power Discs are. Are there any special ones out there? Well, yeah, actually, there certainly are. So there are different kinds of variations on those Power Discs that are called rares. And so here is an example of a rare 1.0 Power Disc, and these were available inside the Toys R Us exclusive packs that were golden Power Disc packs. And then there are other examples of rare both in 1.0, the rare Power Discs, you can see here's a rare toy, and here is a rare ability. There have not been any rare, quote-unquote, customization discs, although there are some hard-to-find ones because of the Toys R Us exclusives. But so the the 1.0 used what's called lenticular printing to give kind of like a little bit of an animation effect to the power disc. You can see there that Captain Hook's ship is kind of, you know, glowing and moving, and then here Merlin, his bag is, you know, magic's coming out of his bag. That was for 1.0 only. And a little trick and tip that people used to use for 1.0 power discs is that they would scratch it with their nail on the image, and if they could feel that ripple and that texture, they would know that they had snagged a rare. But in 2.0, with their rares, there are no lenticular printing involved. And the only thing that really distinguishes them from being rare is that they have this colored plastic versus the clear plastic that's around these. So this orange plastic or red plastic. In 3.0, though, they did away with the rares, quote unquote, and now there are no more rares moving forward in 3.0. All the discs are what are going to be considered common, except for the King Mickey disc, which is this disc right here, which is a super rare, but is not red or anything like that. It still was designed and made like a clear regular disc. So how do you get power discs? That's a great question. They're available in a few different ways. In 1.0, they were available in what are called blind packs. They are 2 per pack, and I have a picture of them right here. So they're available 2 per pack. This is the blind pack that you would see on all the retail locations, and then this gold one is the one you would see that was the Toys R Us exclusive. They're in 3 different series or waves depending on if you were in America or UK or or foreign country. In America, I believe they were called waves, and then outside of America, I think they were called series. But there are 3 different series, and then technically speaking, you can quote unquote count the Toys R Us exclusives as the 4th series because there were discs only available inside the gold pack that were not available in any of the gray silver packs. Just a little side note about these gold packs, they are UPC specific. And with the silver packs, there was no way of telling what was inside that pack other than either scratching it to see if there was lenticular printing or taking them home and putting them on the base and seeing what popped up before you opened it. But in the gold packs, they are all UPC specific. And so if you take a close look at the UPC on the back, you can tell using some guides, some helpful guides, including one at DisneyInfinityCodes.com, what power disc is inside of that gold pack. Then in 2.0, they did another blind pack kind of situation, and so they did split it up into the Marvel superheroes, and there was that wave, and then there was Disney Originals, which was the additional the next wave to that, and so those packs themselves also had rares inside of them. They had a combination of all the discs that you're kind of seeing in front of you. And now in 3.0, and I'm bringing up a photo here. In 3.0, they've done away with blind bags. There are no longer any more blind bags. And instead, what we now have are 4 packs of discs. They retail at exactly the same amount. There's no real big change in that. But what they... Because these blind bags, were 2 of these, would retail at, I believe, $4.99, $5.99 in some places, depending on where you saw them, and then and that continued on with 2.0, them being $5.99 or so, and so now in 3.0 they've done away with that, and they have introduced these unblind packs, and so now power discs are available in these 4 packs that you see here. They are a variation depending on the particular IP and theme, and they're all visible, so you can see exactly what's inside them. These 4 packs retail for $9.99 now, and so instead of paying $5 for 2, now you pay $10 for 4, and so they're pretty much the same exact price. But I have a feeling that in the future now we're going to see less in terms of sales and savings on power discs because there's no need to buy in bulk because now you can very easily find them because they're in clear packs that can be viewed. So then you say to me, okay, Dan, that's all power discs. Now what do I do with them once I have them? Well, there are, one last thing. there are other ways to get power discs, including, and I just threw 2 random ones in here to show you, but certain power discs, such as the Agrabah texture discs, which I have in my album downstairs, not here with me, came exclusively in figure packs like this and not in blind bags. So you'd have to buy Aladdin Jasmine and then the 2 texture discs in a whole big pack in order to get those. And then certain power discs were made more easily available and packaged with albums or packaged with capsules. So, which leads me to, how do you store your power discs? Well, there are a couple different ways. They make these handy dandy little capsules. There's a little thing here that triggers, and then you can pull it out, and then you can slide and stack your power discs inside of them. There are many different kinds of these capsules. There's a blue one, a gray one, a gold one, green. You know, they just keep developing them. And so you can put them in here, and then you take this and slide it shut. And when it's locked, it holds the discs in place. They're not going to go anywhere when you shake it around. And then it has a nice little handle that you can hold it upright. So you can either store your discs like that, or you can store your discs in these handy dandy power disc albums. So they've got, you know, them for 1.0 and also for 2.0. And inside this album here is a space for every single one of the power discs. And so you can see we've got them all, which is kind of great. It's just been announced that 3.0 is doing away with power disc albums, but apparently a unique and new way of storing your power discs are on their way. But my suggestion to you guys would be to run out there and grab these albums, because they are super cheap now for the most part on the shelves in a lot of stores. And using our crafty little printouts, we will give you some easy little crafty projects to turn these into power disc storage for the missing power disc album for Series 3 or Wave 3 of 1.0, and then also for albums for 3.0. So there you go, guys. This is the brief, yeah, it's only been 20 minutes, overview of power discs and what they are and what they do. And here, so you see lots of extra power discs. Of course, every week at DisneyInfinityCodes.com, we give away tons of power discs. So, or web codes or figures. So subscribe, like, visit us every week, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and keep up to date on our latest giveaways. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.